On the 27th of August 2022, Liverpool destroyed Bournemouth by 9-0. Fast forward 7 months and the reverse fixture has just been played, but Bournemouth were the team that sealed the victory, beating Liverpool by 1-0 at the Vitality Stadium. Join me as we talk about this game in its entirety and find out what on earth happened to have such a dramatic turnaround. Please make sure you like the video and subscribe, it really would mean a lot to me. But now, let's talk about how Bournemouth beat Liverpool by 1-0. Bournemouth 1, Liverpool 0. It would be very easy to look at the attacking momentum bar and think that Liverpool really dominated the game and they really deserved to get something more out of it, and really they were just unlucky. But that wasn't the case. It really wasn't. I thought Bournemouth were absolutely fantastic during this game, and I don't think Liverpool had the clinical edge or the attacking threat to really make the most of some of the chances they created. Obviously, as you can see from the attacking momentum bar, they had most of the general threats throughout the game. That being said, I thought Bournemouth actually looked quite comfortable, and in one of their major attacks going forward, they actually get their goal. It was a brilliant piece of play from Ouattara to be able to go down the right-hand side, and then Billing, their top scorer, was there to really slot it home. Mo Salah ended up missing a penalty, which really would have cost Liverpool mentally, and then going into the final stretches of the game, Liverpool started to wane a little bit. They didn't really have too many decent chances. They didn't really have too many good attacking opportunities. And when we look at the lineups, there are some really questionable decisions I have for this Liverpool side. We'll get to how amazing Bournemouth were in just a second. Because when you look at Liverpool and you see that midfield, Bastic, Fabinho and Elliott, I just don't really see that as a midfield that can really go and dominate games. Bastic, yes, he's very good as a young player. However, he has a lot to learn about the way that games really need to be going. And then Harvey Elliott dropping into that central midfield position, it just isn't his. He can't play it, and he really was outdone by the work rate of the Bournemouth midfielders, as well as the likes of Dominic Solanke and Philip Billing dropping into that midfield to really flood and fight for every lost cause. Darwin Núñez was very poor for me. I was surprised that he was taken off after 66 minutes. However, the players that he had to bring on, Jurgen Klopp, with the likes of Diogo Jota, I could understand it to a certain degree, but it was a strange substitution in my opinion. I thought that Darwin Núñez in later parts of games can really start to threaten the opposition, especially with their little darting runs. His movement is very good, and I thought he would be able to link up with Hakpo very, very well. That being said, I thought that most of the Liverpool's front three didn't do enough for the midfielders to be able to open up creative channels. I didn't think that Mo Salah really was too dominant during the match, and I didn't think that he really found himself in any decent positions. We can see his heat map here, and while he is cutting inside, he's nowhere near close enough to goal. He's nowhere near the penalty area, and that's where we know he can do his best work. Very, very strange, because he's not really making any crosses, he's not really making any attacking runs or threats to really get in behind Bournemouth. So once Bournemouth ended up sitting back, it really became a very difficult day for Mo Salah. It became a difficult day for most of these Liverpool players, especially with the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahim Konate. Konate less so, but Van Dijk was run past continuously. Trent Alexander-Arnold ended up moving somewhat into midfield, and I thought that while he had a decent game, he really was all over the place. Yes, he finds himself in this right back position, but he drifts inside far too much for my liking. They need to keep their width, and they need to make sure that they're able to stretch Bournemouth out. They didn't do that, and it was down to the midfield play that I thought was quite poor and lacklustre. In fact, in my opinion, I think that Liverpool looked a bit lifeless. While Bournemouth were brilliant, Liverpool were very disappointing, especially with some of the chances that they had weren't clinical. They weren't able to really convert the chances that they had, and when they actually had most of the ball, I believe they had over 600 passes. They just really weren't able to create all too much. Their physical presence was there, but apart from that, they couldn't really create any clear-cut opportunities. That being said, we have a look at this Bournemouth side, and they were absolutely fantastic. Like I said, Liverpool were lifeless, but Bournemouth were absolutely brilliant, and we need to give them credit. Ouattara and Anthony really were some of the standout performers for me, especially Ouattara being able to have that game down the right-hand side for Bournemouth. He drives through, but also he tracks back. Look at the amount of space that he has here and the amount of heat he's developing on this right hand side, but he's also dropping that little bit deeper, being defensively orientated and making sure that he's helping out his defensive players. We can see that he won 5 out of his 9 aerial duels and 5 out of his 8 ground duels, winning those challenges, winning those duels and allowing Bournemouth to go back onto the front foot. He did very, very good cover for his teammates, and so did Jadon Anthony, who I thought was a big threat down this left hand side. He gave Trent Alexander-Arnold quite a big task, and it was one that Trent wasn't able to really fulfill or live up to. You often found that Fabinho was coming round to cover, and it just brought Liverpool out of position yet again. I spoke about Van Dijk, and that was due to the physical option of Solanke and Billing, who really ran riot in these certain attacking instances. Yes, it wasn't particularly too threatening, but when they did play, they were very good, and they had that physical presence and the ability to really go past Van Dijk, which you haven't seen all too much, especially in previous seasons. However, this season, I feel like he's been a little bit exposed. Dominic Solanke really being everywhere, being that player that we know that he can be at Bournemouth, and he's did a very good job, if we have a look at the average positions, of dropping in and just helping that midfield. We can see from this Bournemouth side that Dominic Solanke and Philip Billing ended up dropping into midfield, and that just made Liverpool's lives a little bit more difficult. Jadon Anthony making sure that he's able to make those runs, as well as the likes of Ouattara. They really made it difficult for the likes of Bajcetic and Elliott to get on the ball, and whenever Fabinho had it and he was able to go forwards and drive, I'll show you the average positions for them at the moment, you can see that just this middle area of the pitch was really flooded, and it made it very difficult for Liverpool to be able to transition the ball into these forward players. Another thing I'd mention is that Mo Salah looks very isolated up here. You can see that Darwin Núñez tried to cut inside to be able to create some lines of space. Andy Robertson would then overlap and allow those extra forward runs to get those overloads on the wide areas. Gakpo really dropping deep to be able to funnel into Mo Salah, but Mo Salah looks very isolated in this average positions, and he really was throughout the game. He didn't have too many touches, and obviously when he did have that major moment, the penalty, he failed to convert. A very disappointing day for Liverpool, but one of absolute elation for Bournemouth. Finally, let's have a look at some of the statistics, and I just thought that they were brilliant on the day. Yes, Liverpool had a lot of the possession. Yes, they had more chances, but I thought that Bournemouth actually seemed quite comfortable in the way that they wanted to play. They seemed comfortable in their defence, and they really were just comfortable in the way that they wanted to see the game out, the way they wanted to defend, and I didn't really see Liverpool getting back into the game. Yes, physically and with their aerial presence, they were able to get a couple of chances, but I don't think that 1.78 XG is really telling the tale of the game. What I do think tells the tale of the game, however, is the amount of duels and aerial duels won by Bournemouth, 48-45, and then 14-12. Here on this channel, we always know that most of the time when you win your duels, you have a fantastic chance of winning the game, and that was exactly the moment for Bournemouth. Bournemouth, as I said, were brilliant. Liverpool were lifeless, and the Premier League throws up yet another crazy result. Bournemouth are now out of the bottom 3 before the games now go and kick off. Liverpool dropping those points to go into the top 4 places, giving a chance to Tottenham and Newcastle and the like. They've dropped points yet again. What a disappointing result for them. But as I said, elation for Bournemouth. They win the game by 1-0, and to be honest, they deserve it. That's it for today, guys. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave the video with a like and subscribe if you haven't for more content like this coming very soon. Make sure you hit that notification bell as well. You don't want to miss what's coming up in the near future. And of course, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on Liverpool and Bournemouth. Do you see Bournemouth getting out of the bottom 3 and escaping relegation? And how do you see Liverpool's final end to the season going? Do they make top 4 for you? Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. But like I said, that's it from me for today. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care of yourselves, and bye-bye.